to go and say that, okay, I'm going to make pants in this crowded D2C space?
We called ourselves the Pant Project because we had a moat, which was our supply chain, and we understood textiles and we understood pants. In 2020, we were about to launch the first concept of the Pant Project store, and we got saved. He was just about at his peak of his career.
Who came up with the idea of, collaborating with?
Our grandfather was a visionary and he would just do this. And this meant you have to get to a 100 crore brand. So we have these pants over here that are called our all-weather essential because you can literally like...
I look gorge. I'm in a serious mode right now. That is... This is how we make viral content here. That's all. Okay. Welcome back to the Bechari podcast. If you are someone who has ever been called bitch or bechari, this is the space for you. You are the superwoman here. Doesn't matter what society thinks about your choices and preferences. Join us in exploring what it takes to be an ambitious woman. The bad, the ugly, the good, the vulnerable. Thank you so much for watching us. Welcome to another episode of the Bechari podcast. We have Udit with us today, Udit Toshniwal, one of the founders of the Pant Project, also known as one of the Pant Pros. So they started in 2020 during COVID. These are the things that I'm super excited about to hear from you actually. Starting during pandemic, doing D2C, which is a super crowded market, now going bullish on retail. One of your goals, probably revenue growth that you talk about is 100 CR by 2025, right? Want to learn so much from you, Udit, and thank you so much for coming on this set and, having this candid chat with us.
Thank you so much, Diksha, and I'm really excited to be on the Bechari podcast. I look forward to sharing with you about our journey on the Pant Project and how my brother and I, Dhruv, created one of the fastest growing D2C fashion apparel brands in India. It's been one hell of a journey, and what's been exciting about it is that the community we've been able to build through social media, through content, and been able to translate that into a commercially viable brand that's been able to scale up. And I think finding that bridge has been very fruitful, and that's something we should touch upon today.
Yeah, for sure. So actually one of the first questions that come to my mind, right, when I'm talking about the Pant Project, right, one is that, this is super niche, right? You're talking about like one part of someone's clothing, right? And so actually to go and say that, okay, I'm going to make pants in this crowded D2C space. How did you come up with that? What was that thesis that you and Dhruv had? Yeah. And second, for me is because you have such an audacious goal for yourself, right, in terms of revenue. I wanted to know if retail for India is one of your, major levers to, meet that goal. You can start by answering the first one.
So we called ourselves the Pant Project because coming from a family background which was in textiles, we had a moat which was our supply chain, and we understood textiles and we understood pants. And we also believed that the TAM was large enough. So today you have a Go Color that's created like a phenomenal story over here for women's bottom wear, but there wasn't any brand out there amongst the new D2C brands that had done something for the men's bottom wear space. And simultaneously, we felt that having a generic brand, right, something that's selling everything and was just all about the vibe, was a very competitive and also a very expensive brand journey to go on. So we actually found success in calling ourselves the Pant Project, and we really do believe that solving that problem, which was for the male Indian consumer, although we do female pants as well, our problem initially started out, and the problem for females is different. We'll come to that a little later on in the section about the product, but the product market fit that got us to create the Pant Project. So we created the Pant Project out of a necessity in COVID, ironically enough, when people were wearing loungewear, and we found success as soon as COVID happened. COVID got out, everyone was on a need to buy formal pants, to find custom-made pants, because they had changed their fit, but no one wanted to go back into the stores, and so being a digitally native brand really helped propel our sales all across the country.
No, that's crazy. So actually you led me to my next question, right? Which is that, I mean, there were so many D2C brands that shut down during COVID, right? I mean, and some of the very famous ones as well. Some got acquired, some got, some had to shut shop. While all of this is happening, where known brands are shutting down, where do you get the courage to be like, okay, I'm going to, start a new brand, and then forget that. What was your GTM then, right? GTM would have been super important for you. So you're saying, I mean, you're then probably a digital first brand, and I would love to know and deep dive into that.
And that is a story that we would love to share, because in 2020, we were about to launch the first concept of the Pant Project store, and we got saved, so as to say, because COVID happened just when we were about to open a place. And so we took the few months off during lockdown, and Dhruv and I were staying with our parents, and we were working on the Pant Project. We were taking Zoom calls with the team that we had hired when we were about to launch the store, and we managed through this period to totally change our user experience and create this digitally native brand. And for the first 3 years then, and only now have we opened our first store, but for the first 3 years, we were able to reach a wide audience by Instagram, social media, and Facebook advertising. And we realized that even though we were in the apparel space, and it's a very physical product of touch and feel, we were able to communicate through a simple order checkout process and simplify the whole custom-made process to be a digitally first brand.
Oh, nice. And actually, could you share some early numbers with us in terms of when you, I mean, you started 2020 end, how much time would you have taken to get those first 100 users? And maybe I think usually it's a trickle down effect, right? Okay, 100 users have bought now, so we go on to the next. So could you share?
Sure. So I'm actually going to start the reverse way. My grandfather, our grandfather, was a visionary, and he would always, he had lost his speech towards the end of his career, and he would just do this. And this meant you have to get to a 100 crore brand, and that was his goal. So that was his dream, and we really were inspired by it. And so we set up the business model in such a way that we said, what do we have to do to get to scale? Coming from a family business which had the support, which had the manufacturing capabilities, our challenge was to create the demand. We were able to have the supply chain to fulfill it. And so in creating the demand, in the first 3 months, getting the word out there, making sure that the brand felt premium, it felt new age, and creating organic content. And then after that, through photo shoots, through performance marketing, through ads, we were able to acquire customers. And at this point, the customer acquisition cost online was relatively more reasonable than it is today. So I think that was an advantage as well. Yeah. And I would say that in 2020-21, when we were doing about 300 orders a month. Okay. So that was about 10 orders or so a day. And now today we're doing over 300 orders a day. Oh, wow. So I think that the scale in the past 3 years has been in, once you nail certain hero products, how can you scale them? And so we had a small product range. We started off with formal pants, and then we expanded slowly into power stretch pants. And I think this category really took off on the internet, and everyone was sort of sharing it, and we were able to like go a little bit viral. And we also doubled down on having a celebrity influencer come in early in our journey, maybe a little too early in our journey, but I think it got us a lot of eyeballs and gave us the sort of like risk-taking ability to know that we were committed to grow.
No, completely. I'm glad you brought it up, right? Because well, I'm a content person at heart, and I can see through, you know, wow, this really you know, this collaboration or this content IP works so well because someone really ingenious did it. So I actually want to know who came up with the idea of, you know, collaborating with Rishabh Pant. Also because like it is basically your brand name is in his name.
I looked at the ad at that time. It was a pant is a pant, and literally it was Rishabh Pant over here. He was just about at his peak of his career, and we were able to get him as a brand ambassador. He didn't have a clothing brand on at that point, and he really believed in our brand because our whole model at that point was custom made, and we were talking about inclusivity and diverse body sizes as well. And I think that like today the average Indian man relates to that, and relates to the fact that you can come from any field, any walk of life, and you can be fearlessly confident. You can be out on the field and be performing your best. And who doesn't want to wear a good pair of pants and walk and take on the day? Yeah. So that was a really interesting story. And I think for us, having that brand connection be doubled up and echoed on, which was having Rishabh Pant and then the Pant Project, helped on a word of mouth way in a really big way. And also with an announcement to the D2C community and other industries that we're a serious player out there. It's not just a niche fashion label.
No, truly. I think if you did the collaboration like early on, maybe it would have actually, like in a mass way, it would have really like helped in the awareness. Correct. Even if it's not like, I'm sure there was a lot of lead generation, but awareness of through Rishabh Pant would be like crazy because he has millions. How many? 10 million followers or something?
It's insane. And I think that like today when you're a D2C brand, and I mean, I know on Bechari you've been getting a lot of interesting founders, and it's something you're passionate to share the stories of. Every founder journey is very different. And I think that for Dhruv and I, it was about trying to really tap into a mass premium brand for India. So everything from our price points to our consumer offering was very functional. And I think that the consumer was able to really connect to that.
No, completely agree. You know, there are two things that I noticed in your earlier answer, right? One is that you're talking about family business a lot, right? And you come inspired rather than rebelling. You know, you're like, we have a family business and we want it to be like a support system and something we want to do independently, right? So I want to understand a little about that, of course you have a family business and sometimes the family can be like, okay, you know, our kids will take care of or take our you know, a business forward, while you guys have taken a call that, okay, we know business, we come from this family that has actually taught us business, but we want to do it independently and do it big, right? So I mean, what was your family's reaction? How have you kind of how did you even decide that, okay, we want to do this independently rather than carry on with the traditional way of doing things?
So I think that like the most important thing that someone can teach you is knowledge, right? And they can give you sort of like the networks and the knowledge, but to have the culture is something that one needs to keep as a D2C brand to be able to hire young talent. When you have a family business that's a legacy business that's doing B2B, the D2C culture is totally different. And so for us, prioritizing every customer, every client, every employee in our organization to make sure that they are able to grow with our culture and our organization was very important. And I think that every incubation or every space needs its own DNA to grow. And that's why Dhruv and I decided to build the Pant Project independently as a D2C brand. And I think the success behind it has been that it has its own culture. And we've been able to be successful because we've been able to reach out to a totally different community.
No, true.
And I think when you're asking about the family's support, the family's been very supportive in terms of making sure that whether it's knowledge or fabrics or anything like that, and they show up at our store openings or at any of our sort of milestones, and they're always encouraging. So it's good to have that support.
That's super cool. But was there any early reaction where you're like, oh, kids, why are you going for another independent project while we have built this for you? Nothing like that. Your parents were like, no, go for it.
Yeah, I think that my father and his brother have a significant age gap as well. So they were young and they were happy to do what they've built as well. And they said that you should do it yourself to understand the hard work that we've taken to build this. And I think that sweat, when you know it's your own business, even though a family business is your own business, but when it's your own money, we've invested and bootstrapped the Pant Project until now. So it's been quite a successful journey on that.
No, for sure. And in fact, now that you've said that, right, bootstrap. So what is, one, you've obviously just opened a retail store. Yeah. I want to know why, because you started digitally, right? And that was what made sense. And now retail is making sense. And maybe you're going on to do other things like fundraising or whatever. Tell us a little about that, and also tell us about your hero product.
So I think we've always believed in an omni-channel marketing approach, and you need to be where your customer is. So today we opened our first retail store in Bandra, and then we opened our next retail store in Bangalore. And we opened them within the same 2 weeks. So it's been quite an exciting journey, and we did a lot of research to analyze where we want to open. And we already had a big community through our online presence in Bandra or around that 5-kilometer radius, and similarly in Bangalore. Okay. And we're trying out 2 different formats. Right now, this is a high street store. I think eventually we'd want to open some stores in malls, but in the next 2 years, we do believe that the growth in Pant Project is also going to come through retail, and this really helps both digitally and physically. So once you've gotten sized and measured, then reordering your pant online or shopping becomes very convenient. And simultaneously, if you found out about the brand digitally, you're more likely to walk into the store physically. So I think that customer acquisition costs come down, conversions become higher. And I think that this is the future, right? Yeah. Today, you're seeing in malls brands like MyGlam and other brands opening up. And I think that the Indian consumer today is very educated and spending the time to educate themselves on a legacy brand versus a new age brand. Yeah. And I think that for the Pant Project, we really do believe that we don't really have a direct competition, and if we do, it's old legacy brands or global international brands. But in India, there hasn't been a brand that's come out that's specifically targeting across pants for every occasion.
Yeah. No, of course, that's why my first question was going bullish on such a niche product in fashion it takes a lot of I think confidence in terms of maybe your textiles. I mean, you guys come from that background, so maybe that gives you some kind of.
So I think like an Apple, we are a product-led business, and we've really spent a lot of our time on functionally marketing our products. So it's a lot of USPs, right? So for example, we have these pants over here that are called our all-weather essential, or we call them in-house our awesome pants. Okay. Because you can literally pour a drink on it or water, and it'll literally just roll off.
Wow.
So, I mean, every season we come up with a new product, and I think in monsoons we realize in the rains, you step out of your car and you get splashed on.
And it looks super formal, so it's not
It looks super formal,
yeah,
but it has this sort of performance finish, right? A technical finish. Yeah. And that's not what a lot of people in the country can do. So we were able to leverage this and really own a space in the bottom wear category.
You have it for girls as well?
Yes, we have it for men and for women. Yeah. And we have it across sizes and fits. So you can pick a slim, tapered, or a relaxed fit for men, or a wide leg pant, which is really fashionable right now for women, and and a range of colors.
Yeah, I think there's no brand that can actually flaunt such a range of pants.
Yeah.
But I want to actually understand because you said something very interesting, and I also believe that you have, like, any brand can have a couple of services or products that are their hero products or services, right? And then you scale, and that's what makes sense, right?
Right.
So tell me, what is that hero product for Pant Project that you've actually scaled as well?
So it was really interesting. In fact, when we were doing the Rishabh Pant collection, we had a IPL, like different colors for the IPL, like Mumbai Indians or like Delhi. And for Bangalore, we did a pant called like the Bangalore Black.
Oh, wow.
And it was so successful because everyone wanted a stretchy black pant. And I think that today, versatility, any consumer out there wants something that they can wear for a long duration, durable, and it be for multiple occasions, right? So you want to wear it to a travel. You've come in today from Delhi, right? Wouldn't you have wanted to wear just a comfy pair of pants?
Like, I usually just pick up Nike tracks that look like pants.
But they look super athleisure, right? And so our Bangalore Black Power Stretch Pant is a super versatile pant that looks formal but is made out of a knit fabric and has a elasticated waistband with a shirt gripper inside of it. So you can like tuck in your polo or your shirt and it'll like stay in place all day. So I think that like, and it's priced really well as well. So I think that ticking off all of those makes the product a no-brainer. And that's when the consumer is able to come to you initially, plus adding the layer of it being customizable or personalizable and offering like customer service and free alterations and like other sort of value propositions. You have to do that today to break into the market. And if you are able to do that successfully, the market will give you back that same love because you have invested in creating a product that they love.
No, completely. I think something that I've been wary of, and I think many founders maybe, and you can answer that better, is that at least 5 years ago, I wouldn't know if personalization can be scaled, right? But today, like, customer service is nothing without personalization, right? So how is that working out for you guys? How are you doing it at scale? If you could help me with that.
So while we're sort of a digital platform and you see our UI UX, which is very like user-friendly. At the back end of it, we have a strong tech team. We have a team of 7 to 10 customer care representatives who are always replying on your chat and following through on the orders. Our entire order taking process makes sure that you can always log into your account through an OTP and like actually reorder. And on a personalization level, it's making sure that once you found your product, you can just WhatsApp us or reorder or stay in touch, or even if you have a problem, each order is being tracked to who you are. And I think being digital has helped us with that. When you often walk into a store, you're not so comfortable to like share all your personal data immediately. But I think having the online presence, it makes people, especially in COVID, the way like online deliveries and the whole digital experience just picked up really helped us as well.
No, very interesting, something that I've actually always thought of. So thank you for answering that. Now, just to get a little specific onto the topic of Bichari, right? I mean, I've already given you some context. I think like when founders are, there are more and more younger founders in the country or in the world, what it does is it also does a lot of good for the society at large, I feel, right? So I think, like, for example, some things that maybe earlier founders or traditional founders would have not thought of is gender diversity, how many how many female leaders we have, or how many other gender people we have as employees as well, right? What do you think about that subject? For example, I think that since you are the founder of the Pant Project, would also mean that there will be more people, not only males but other genders, who will be becoming leaders in the future, because people like founders like you will be giving that opportunity. So what is that ratio at the Pant Project, if you could share something like that?
Balancing the masculinity and the femininity is like very important. Both genders operate totally differently, and without being gender biased at all, we actually hire for skills, for the job at hand, and for the determination to grow with us. And I think that the opportunity out there, so in our organization, I'd say, is that depending on the team, we sort of have a 50-50 or maybe like a 60-40. Some of the teams even have more female managers or representatives in our organization. And I think that like the detail orientedness of which like female employees or staff have is just phenomenal, right? So I think that both Dhruv and I tend to be very like big picture, and I think that in our marketing team, having a lot of like female like creatives or like graphic designers, social media managers, in our customer care team, we felt about 80 to 90% men, but at the same time, men enjoy talking to females. We have about 25 to 30% of our male consumers are actually buying pants through their female partners or significant others. And that's so interesting to see in this country how the decision making is taken.
Spending decisions lies with females.
Yeah, whether it's at our stores, we've had these large trial rooms that we've created. You have to visit one of our stores to experience it. They're larger than most trial rooms because we say that the significant other wants to go in the trial room with their partner to take the decision, and you don't want to be cramped up over there. So it's quite interesting to see how in India, shopping is often a family or like social activity. Yeah.
That is super cool. But no, very interesting. In fact, another question I have is that, you know, even when I ask females like, oh, can you name one female who's an inspiration or an idol, and always it takes like you always come up with like male founders or male you know, celebrities before like you think of females. So if I had to actually ask you like to give a shout out to any you know, female you might know or globally who is an inspiration, can you name anyone?
For sure. So actually I'm going to answer this question in two parts. I'm going to say is that often the fashion domain is thought of as being a female-centric domain. But it's interesting to see how a lot of like male entrepreneurs are also being successful in it. Yeah. And simultaneously there are a lot of like female fashion designers, and we get a lot of females who want to work at our organization for that. Yeah. Just answering your first part of your question. And secondly, at someone who's like inspired me has been someone like Priyanka Gill, right? Yeah. Today she has created from Pop XO to My Glam and Good Glam and all of these sort of things, and now she just today like got nominated to be on the Kalari Capital like leadership team and stuff. So I think that someone like Priyanka Gill is inspirational because she's a young woman entrepreneur, and you have founders who have helped pave her path as well, right? Like, so you have a Falguni Nair who's created a Nykaa fashion and Nykaa beauty and created an entire empire, and then there are people like Priyanka who've come from a content like creative background and then made it into a product and then been successful at that and now got into the VC and the investment world. So I think that being able to be a chameleon and an entrepreneur is something that goes hand in hand. You just solve problems, and it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman.
No, I completely agree, and I love that you touched upon the fact that we make things so stereotypical, right? That it's a female business. Fashion is a female business. While I think then for the longest time, males would have not been looking at it because they're like, oh, it comes on my ego. But now we've reached a point where you're like, okay, if I also know fashion, it doesn't matter what gender it is. So it's pretty interesting that way. So this is, going on to my last segment, and you can tell me if there's anything else that you would like to add. But what is it next in, I mean, I think you told me that you guys are looking forward to maybe a fundraise or more retail stores around.
So I think that to achieve our goal of 100 crores by 25, 26 latest, is that we would need to have a retail expansion. And I think that retail is often a little bit more capital intensive than just being an online platform. At the Pant Project, we created custom made, and we do believe that having found success in custom made, we would like to scale up with a dual custom made and ready to wear. So now we're also available on other platforms and marketplaces like Amazon and Myntra. We also want to go omni-channel by having our physical stores. And so to take these bets, once we've proven ourselves, we require certain capital. So I think that if there are investors out there who are interested in growing with us and believe in our vision, we aren't opposed to escalating that growth by capital infusion. So far, Dhruv and I have fundraised by being bootstrapped, and I think that going out there, and we've received a lot of inquiries and inbound.
Yeah.
So I think that now the markets are such where digital acquisition has become a little bit more challenging. So to do omni-channel is the right way forward.
Correct.
And also, we do really believe that the TAM out there is large enough for us to own a significant market share. We're currently on Amazon as one of the best formal wear pant brands out there. So we believe that we can be in every man's or woman's wardrobe.
Yeah. So you are definitely going to be making more pants for females as well.
Yeah, for sure.
No, for sure.
Who wears the pants in this relationship?
Is the question. Is the question always. No, thank you. No, this really helps. In fact, I have a last fun segment, which I don't know if you want to be a part of, but tell me. We always make like our guests write a thing they may have heard about women or say about women that they think should go into the dustbin. Okay. So can you write an opinion that you would love to throw in the dustbin about women coming from the society? You said something about your fiance right before. What was that?
No, I was just telling you that she always says that like we need to have more pants for women and sort of just that like.
So I found that really interesting because you're like, yeah, this this setup is fine with female centric. So here you go, and then once you've written the opinion, you can like do anything with the paper and throw it.
I'm seeing it, but I'm not seeing it.
Okay, so I got an interesting quote that I'm gonna throw.
Oh, super.
And then we'll discuss it. Okay, so I wrote this quote, "On Wednesdays we wear pink," right? It's from the popular movie, but I think that women should be more inclusive within their own communities, and men should be more inclusive towards wear pink if it makes you feel happy. We have a beautiful shade of pink in our Pant Project that men buy too, that women buy too, and you don't have to exclude people. I think creating others rather than just saying we're all in it together is the best sort of community building entrepreneurial activity, because why not?
This is such a good one and very different from everything that we've had.
So let's throw it away.
Yes, super. I just see it like going, whoa. No, thank you so much, Udit, for being a part of this. I mean, learned so much about. I think when we go D2C, please, give us one of your pants for like our goodie box as well.
For sure.
Thank you so much. That's it, folks. Please leave a comment if you liked this episode. If you are a girl boss or a woman powering through the puzzle that is patriarchy, please don't forget to give us a shout out. We need it. We need all the support. And hit that subscribe button. Press that bell icon because it's super important for us. Thank you so much.